Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to part 2 of the restaurant trends for 2019. As we at the team at Marketing for Restaurants see them, this is episode 103 of Secret Sauce, and you're with James Earling.
Some restaurants are quiet, lose money, and the owner works 70 hours a week. Other restaurants are busy, profitable, and the owners work a few hours a day. What's the difference? They have a secret sauce. Join James from Marketing for Restaurants as he helps you come up with your recipe for restaurant success. Your secret sauce.
Hey everyone. So, hope you got something out of last week's podcast. Costs, openings are going to be hot. Food trends, we still got a little bit to go. We were talking about beverages. A lot of people, I think, are quite lazy when it comes to beverages. We're not going to talk about wine and spirits and beers, but I think this is one of those things. We're seeing more and more people who are putting the description in for their alcoholic beverage menu as well. You need to be thinking about that. The last thing I wanted to talk about is kombucha and all of the fermented things. The big mega trend that this is riding on is the health thing. So rather than getting a well drink, people are going to be thinking about maybe I should have something healthy. Kombucha, I don't really know if it's healthy. I know a lot of people buy it because it is healthy though. And in some respects, that's probably the most important thing. I've got to tell you, it's probably a lot healthier for you than these high fructose corn syrup type drinks that people traditionally have been drinking. And so this is one of those things, whenever you can do something on that mega trend, then that is the kind of thing that you want to be thinking about. And, you know, from my own perspective, so we had some sausages for dinner. I know I'm sort of a secret cordon bleu chef there. Cooked up some sausages. I didn't even do that, Tina did. But I bought the sausages. That was my part for it. And it's really quite a trauma because now there's a star rating on all of the sausages. And, you know, the cheapy sausages, they've got half a star, and it's because they're full of fat. So I went out and got some nice pork sausages, probably twice the cost, but half the calories. Tina and I are trying to be a little bit more careful. And of course, we've got 12-year-old kids. I think, yes, that's it. We don't want them to be overweight. We want them to be healthy. So I spent the extra 5 minutes it was to deconflict which damn sausages I could buy. McDonald's this morning, so I'm in here on the weekend, and so there's not a lot of coffee shops open around here because we're an industrial estate. So I get one on the McDonald's, from the McDonald's on the way in, and I was looking. All of their items have got the number of calories on them. This is a big trend. You want to be thinking about the big trends. Now, whether you're going to be doing food labeling or not, whether you have to or not, that's a different matter. If you are, and McDonald's is doing this in a response to there's just not enough revenue in it if it's only going to be a treat. So they've got to have those healthy options there. Kombucha is one of those things. Fermented drinks is going to be, I think, increasingly big. They're pretty easy to do now. I mean, most of your retailers now, or your beverage distributors, it's not that hard to get some kombucha. It's in there. Then you start telling the story. Then people think, oh, I'm doing something healthy. What is it that you're selling? Obviously, a healthy experience. They can sit down. Rather than having a Coke, they're having the kombucha. Makes it a whole lot easier. Now, as we discussed last week when we were talking about it, we've done a moderate amount of research in Google Trends to try and get an idea about what people are going to be interested in. So kombucha, if you look at it, over the last 5 years, the traffic has gone up by a factor of 5. There's 5 times as many people looking for kombucha now than there were 5 years ago. And so one of the components about a trend, which we talked about last week as well, is it something that people are looking for? And when there is a new trend that's coming out, one of the issues that you've got is that 5 years ago, if you could put kombucha on your menu, then you're the one who's doing all of the work. What's that? Why would I drink that? Sounds weird. Now there's a lot of people out there who have tried kombucha. There's a lot more people who understand what the health benefits are. That gives you the opportunity to put it on your menu without a whole lot of heavy lifting as far as educating the customer goes. Now, if there is heavy lifting in your area around the benefits of it, then of course there's a couple of things that you can do. You start telling that story, because that's going to actually bring new customers in. For a lot of places, when they put kombucha in there, it's actually going to change the mix of beverages that they use for their existing customers, they may or may not get more customers in. They may get their existing customers coming in more often because of the fact that, oh, kombucha, yeah, I like that. And, that maybe, because what you really want to do is you want to have it part of someone's, weekly routine. For me, I get a coffee on a Wednesday from the one just around the corner from Baz, our barista, and a lot of our team get them from Baz as well. On the weekends, as I said, McDonald's, because there's no one open around here. If someone comes in and they see kombucha there, is it enough to drive them from once a month to once a fortnight, or once every 2 weeks, or once a week? These are the kind of things that you want to be thinking about, because this is where real profitability is in the trends that you're looking at. Now, the last trend that I want to talk about is bugs. So there's a lot of people who are saying that bugs are going to be the big in thing now. And you know what? I've got to say, we talked about it last year. It just didn't happen this year, and I don't think it's going to happen next year. Could be wrong. I think that there is some significant issues with bugs as food. So the first thing, obviously, is customers eating bugs. Now, in some places, lots of people eat bugs, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a great source of protein. When we talked about food photography, I've done a bit of a video on it. I've got a picture of someone eating a spider. That's just epic. Probably I will never eat a spider. I'm pretty confident with that. I'm never going to eat a spider unless accidentally. But, great source of protein. There's a lot of people who are talking about this is going to be the future of protein because bugs are easy to grow. Firstly, you've got to want to eat a bug. That's the first thing. Now, I think that bugs, there's potentially the opportunity to make, maybe a bug bun where, there's going to be crickets in it and you eat it and it's like, oh, well, it didn't taste that bad, or, yeah, I like the texture, something like that. Those people probably aren't going to eat a bug bun again, or a bug burger. I don't think that that's going to happen. It's going to be very much a once-off, and often a substitution opportunity. People are going to come in, and then one person out of a group of 10 will order the bug burger, and everyone else will just order the normal cheeseburger or whatever you've got. Maybe, maybe not. The other thing that's a significant issue with this is, of course, the supply chain. Where are you going to be able to get a reliable supply of bugs, and how expensive are they? So until we start mass producing them, and until people get a reliable supply of bugs, I think that's really going to hold it back. And then, of course, the last thing is that it needs to be that customer education. And everyone sort of knows about bugs. There's, they're always on TV. People are talking about it, but it needs to become acceptable. It's not just, with kombucha, it's a little bit about, and then there's this healthy food drink. It's a lot better for you. It's got these benefits, blah, 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 blah. Bugs are kind of like, yeah, bugs are good for you and they taste okay. It's like, yeah, fantastic, but I don't need to eat a bug today. I can probably eat something else. So there's still work that needs to be done around that. Now, next big trend is delivery and take home. And I know what you're going to say. It's like, oh, God, we're sick and tired of this. You know what? I'm sick and tired of it as well. But there are multi-billion-dollar companies who are driving the fact that delivery, take home is going to be a thing. I find it really quite interesting. Pizza delivery, I would like to know who invented pizza delivery. Where was that first pizza delivered to someone's home? And I think it's, sort of 1950s that it's been doing. So delivered takeout food, there's no rocket science in that. UberEats, Deliveroo, they like to say that they've invented it. They haven't really. Restaurants have been doing it for a long time. Restaurants are still doing it, and they're still doing probably a lot more than UberEats and Deliveroo, Grub Hub in the United States, Just Eat in the UK. They've probably been doing a lot more of that still. UberEats, Deliveroo on a big upswing. They've raised a lot of money. There's going to be a lot of work around driving customers' behaviours and habits. So I know that Deliveroo is really, really interested in breakfast and lunch. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not ready to get my avocado on toast while I'm in my pajamas. I'm just not comfortable with that. I like going out for breakfast because it is different. It's not eating at home. And breakfast is really kind of a low barrier type meal. I could just get some Wheat Bix or do bacon and eggs. It's not that hard. And I'm not at the point where we haven't reached peak lazy, or in our household, we haven't reached peak lazy, where I'm like, I'm just going to get someone to cook my bacon and eggs. Seriously, it's a 3-minute job. This is where Deliveroo want to take it. We've talked moderately frequently about the ills of this. Obviously, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, whoever your delivery partner is, what are they charging you? Probably around 35%. That's what we're seeing a lot of people paying. very expensive. We talked about this last week in the costs. If you're losing 35% off the top, wow, you need to be really thinking about that. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't restaurants that can do it, but there's a lot of restaurants who can't. When we talked about openings being really hot, wow, there's people who are losing 35% on maybe 20 or 30% of their revenue. That's a 10% decrease in their revenue after they paid those fees, and that can absolutely destroy profitability. This is what driving openings as well, because there's a lot of restaurants that are closing down because they think that they have to get on board with UberEats. They do it, and then of course they get a whole heap of orders because it's epic, and then they go out of business because they're not making money on anything that they're shipping out the door with an UberEats driver. What does that mean for you? Well, I think that there's multiple things. The first thing is, don't panic, all right? So many restaurants just panic when the Uber Eats guy comes in and says, oh, we're going to be in your suburb next week, and if you're not in it, then, you're going to be losing out on all these orders. Maybe, maybe not. So the first thing is do nothing. That's one option that you've got there. Focus on creating a great experience for the people who come into your restaurant. The people who do delivery, they're not interested at all in people coming into a restaurant. I wonder, have they actually ever been in a restaurant? Because going to a restaurant can be epic. I went out for dinner with some mates last Thursday, and there were shots of old-fashioned whiskey cocktails. There were shots of limoncello. It was great. There was one issue that I had. That was because I was driving. Nobody else was, so I was well and truly left behind in the wine and shot stakes. But a great experience was had by all. That's what a lot of restaurants are built on, and that's what your restaurant could be built on, making sure that everyone is really good at providing that environment for people to have that experience where they meet up with all their mates. That's the first thing. You don't have to be on Uber Eats. Now, the second thing is that you don't have to be doing delivery. The great thing about takeout is that it means it opens up your restaurant to an entire new group of people. So, as I've often said, on a Friday night, we get food delivered to us. I could, and I have, gone and picked the food up on the way home. So that makes it significantly better. You're not covering those actual delivery costs. We talked about it a little while ago when we looked at Dominos Pizzas in Australia, their business model. We need to come back to the Dominos Pizza franchise model, particularly in Australia. They're looking at massively increasing the number of stores in Australia. They're doing most of that by splitting their stores. That really makes it hard for individual franchise owners to make money. This is why people go independent when realistically, I think for a lot of people who open a restaurant, a franchise is a smart way to do it, but you lose so much power and there's so many unscrupulous franchise operators out there. Domino's have got some pretty shonky business practices, but one of the things that I find absolutely amazing, and you know what, it's a multi-billion dollar business, and it's a multi-billion dollar business, I think, because of this one fundamental thing that they do. So they're very, very famous for delivering pizza. They don't really want to deliver the pizza for you. So they're famous for their $5 pizza. Now, you can order online, and they've got a great online ordering system. Now, if you don't have a great online ordering system, you can get one. It's free, the free restaurant online ordering system. Shameless plug there. Check it out. Probably a link in the show notes if you're lucky. Oh, if I'm lucky. I'll try and put it in there. So you can order online from Domino's, and the $5 pizza, it's only available pickup. So you say, oh, we're going to do pickup? Yep. So you can pick up 5 pizzas, it's going to be $25. Easy. If you think, oh, I'm lazy, and I've thought, oh, I'm lazy before, let's just get some pizzas. Those 5 pizzas might cost you $50, and you think, whoa. Oh, sorry about that. So just did a quick edit there because I like to fact check myself to make sure that I'm not doing anything too wacky. So a couple of interesting things. Domino's have changed their online ordering system recently, which we'll go into. But I've got one pizza up there, which I'm going to pick up $5. And this is a pepperoni, so it's the cheapest pizza that you can get. I then ordered 10 pizzas to be delivered. Pepperoni, exactly the same one. Large classic crust. The first pizza is $18.95. So there's no delivery fee, but the $5 pizza is $18.95. There are then 9 pizzas for $103.05. which works out to be $11.45 each. So for the total for the 10 pizzas, and I ordered 10 because I'm a pig, just because it makes the maths easy, $12.20. So your $5 pizza is actually $12.20. They are charging around $70 for that delivery. Boom. Now, that is amazing. It's one of the big things that we're looking at doing for our customers next year is working out, redoing our Frollo system so that you can clearly differentiate. Because now I believe that Domino's is not a delivery company. They don't want to deliver to you. Because I look at that, and so for $50, I can go and pick up 10 pepperoni pizzas. I don't actually like pepperoni, just saying. I think it's a lazy. There should be more exciting stuff on it. We're going to get 10 pizzas for everyone. It's going to be epic. Then I see it, and if it's delivery, it's $122. And I'm thinking, holy cow, that's really expensive. Then you go to pick up and you think, you know what, screw it. I am going to save $62. I am going to save $62. So they're actually charging more than the pizza is worth to deliver each and every pizza. A $60 delivery fee. They are 10 minutes up the road. Now, who's charging a $60 delivery fee out there? Got to say, ain't too many apart from Domino's. Smartest guys in the industry. The big bottleneck, anyone who does delivery will know that the big bottleneck is in delivery drivers. These guys work against that by getting people to come and pick the damn pizza up themselves, even though their whole brand is around delivery. Boom, that's why they are the rich guys. Something to think about, something definitely to start planning for, I think. Have a think about what a pickup-only menu would look like. Obviously, you don't need to mark your prices up. And I think what you want to be thinking about is the fundamental thing. What's the throughput like on the kitchen? You're going to get most of your orders on a Friday and a Saturday night. That's kind of a given. So if that's the case, how busy are you on a Friday and Saturday night? Because if you're flat out, if the restaurant's full and you don't have any spare capacity in the kitchen, then you need to go back to your menu to rework it so that you do have spare capacity in the kitchen. You're saving on the time, or you're saving on the number of burners, or whatever it is that you need to prepare that dish so that you can get that dish out a lot quicker so that you can spare up some capacity. Then you can do pickup. Boom. Failing that, have a think about doing your own orders, your own deliveries. There's lots of restaurants out there that do their own deliveries. They've got front of house who will rotate between doing front of house and deliveries. There's lots of ways you can skin that cat. I think that when you bring in a differential pricing type system, that's going to make a really big difference. The next thing that we're seeing is innovation. There's a lot of people who are super keen on innovation now. We're doing this with some of our marketing customers where we'll actually start looking at the menu and thinking and start coming up with ideas around menu items. How does that work in? Now, obviously, we're driving this from a marketing point of view. So, for instance, it's December now as I'm recording this. We've got Australia Day coming up in 5 weeks. Now's the time to be starting to think, if you're not going to be crazy flat out for Christmas, if you are, you probably should have started thinking about this probably 4 weeks ago. But now's the time to start thinking about what your Australia Day marketing campaign is going to be like. What are the items that you can do that you can market from there? So a bit of innovation. Are you going to be doing some combining? Are you going to be using some different techniques? Are you going to do a change in presentation or a change in naming so that you can do something that's going to work for Australia Day? It doesn't need to be holiday driven. It doesn't need to be event driven. It can be menu in itself driven, a little bit of menu innovation to try and come up and really make your menu fight for every item on your menu needs to be fighting for its place on there. Far too many people have got a lazy menu that's been the same thing for the last 4 years. Now, remember when we talked about how people's tastes change? This is the really big opportunity. You can use something like Google Trends or, just a bit of trial and error to try and find things that people are going to have a higher affinity with it. Now, I actually just randomly searched for sweet and sour pork, and I thought, I wonder how that would go. Are we seeing a trend around sweet and sour pork? Is it more popular? Is it less popular? Interesting fact, the search traffic for sweet and sour pork spikes in January every year. I'm looking at 5 years worth of data, and each year for the last 5 years, there's been a spike around mid-January in people searching for sweet and sour pork. Probably a Chinese year thing, I would have thought, but that's an interesting, how is it that you can use that sort of information? It's pretty easy, I think. And of course, when you're looking to do innovation, I think obviously one of the really, really big innovation type opportunities is to borrow from other cuisines. What does a sweet and sour pork look like if it was done using Indian techniques, Indian foods? Interesting. Now, the next big change that we are seeing is with restaurants that are niching down. So what they're doing is they're picking not one niche, not two, but maybe 4 or 5, and then creating little sub-businesses in their restaurant to cater for all of those niches. So now the perfect example of this is, let's just say that bugs are a thing in your area. So you've noticed that there are a few restaurants who are doing bugs. Now, if they're bug only or aggressively health food orientated, it might be hard to get people to go there, because it means that if for a party of 4, you're going to have to get 4 people who are down with bugs. And that might be a hard thing to do. So what you can do is you may decide to put bugs on the menu. Now, you don't want to lead with that. You don't want to have that on the front page, because it's probably going to turn some people off. But what you could do is have a separate page on the website that talks about your approach to bug food. So we know that there are some people who are really keen on eating bugs, whether they're trying it out for the first time or whether they've discovered that crunchy protein taste of bugs and they're really excited by it. So we've got 3 menu items. We've got a bug burger, we've got a bug vindaloo, and we've got a bug pie. I made those 3 off the top of my head just then. You've then got a photo. Now, people are going to see it. They're going to see it on the menu. It may or may not drive a difference in people coming back. It may not drive a difference in people coming in. You'll be able to see that from the number of people who hit the bug page on your as a landing page, so the entrance into your website. That's an important thing. It gives you an idea about how many people are interested in that page. You can then actually see how many people go through to your booking page. That's another way of sort of working out what the economic value of your bug marketing offering is. But that is a single niche that you can target, that you can then track and see if that's worthwhile. Once again, that's a niche that you're not going to be driving Ferraris with. I think it's really tough to do that. But get 10 of those niches: gluten-free, flexitarian, vegetarian, no fructose, FODMAP type things, child-friendly, baby-friendly, family-friendly, all of those sort of things, craft beer, bespoke wines, whiskey. There's a whole range of niches that you can focus on, that you can target. You don't need to be a whiskey bar. If you're a restaurant with a couple of decent whiskeys and there's a couple of people who think, you know what, it'd be nice to just try a couple of, to have some nice whiskeys. Now, rather than going to the whiskey bar, you've brought them in for a meal. They've had the meal, they thought this is really nice, and they're having a couple of quiet whiskeys at the end of it. You've increased the average check size for each of your seats, and they're more likely to come back. That's the value of having a decent whiskey menu in your restaurant, if that's the kind of thing that you want to do. I probably wouldn't put that in your burger bar or your pizza, but depending on what it is that you want to be thinking about. Now, number 7, marketing. And specifically, we're talking about, now, we talk about this a bit, you need to be doing marketing. Look, it's never truer. A couple of times we've spoken to people and they said, look, we're not really ready. And you sort of think, well, when are you going to be ready? You're struggling now. We often see what we call dead restaurants walking. Maybe it's dead restaurant cooking. The restaurant that has lost so much money and is so far behind that the damage that has been done to the restaurant is irredeemable. And at some point, the restaurant owner just needs to call it time of death now. Because of the fact that, customer service has gone so low, the kitchen is so low, it's just not working for them. They need to close up shop. For those, though, who've still got a bit of life in them, marketing is probably the number one thing that you need to be doing. As long as the kitchen's okay, as long as front of house is okay, as long as you've got something to work with there, then you need to start thinking about marketing. Now, the next thing about that, though, I think is data-driven marketing. So one of the things that we talked about, obviously, we've been playing with Google Trends, something that we've been doing with our customers sometimes, but I think well worth people having a bit of a play with it. You have a bit of a play with it. See what you can find out of it. See how that correlates with what it is that you're seeing in your marketplace. Obviously, Facebook ads, there's a lot of people now who, in the last 12 months, we talked about marketing last year as being one of the things. There are more and more people now so last year, we got a lot of people who had never run a Facebook ad. Now we're seeing a lot of people who are running Facebook ads. They want to do better with them. So they're getting a response, they're getting some response, they want to be getting a better response. And so they're coming to us to sort of really start looking at the targeting they're going to be doing, the go-to-market strategy, the content that they're putting up, targeting, all of those sort of things. There are more and more sources of where you can get interesting data. One of the things that we're working on with Frollo and Forbes, so Frollo, the free restaurant online ordering system, and Forbes, the free online restaurant booking system. I am hoping that by now, by the time this gets out, I'm not sure when our podcast producer will have done that, hopefully not too far off. Hopefully by then, we're actually going to be showing a loyalty graph. So one of the things that I find fascinating is the rate at which our customers, so the rate at which restaurants move customers to the right on the loyalty graph. What we're going to be doing is dynamically showing you how your customers are going. So in Frollo, if someone makes their first order, then, hooray, you've made that first order. You've got one customer who's ordered once. Then you'll have another customer who orders. You've then got two customers who've ordered once. Now, what happens when a customer orders a repeat order? So your third customer is actually from your third order, Your third order is from your first customer. You've then got one customer who's ordered once and you've got one customer who's ordered twice. You are moving that customer to the right in the loyalty graph. Now, there's big money to be done here. We're working on a visualization of this so that people can really see it. And then we're going to be working on really surfacing the kind of things that smart restaurant owners are doing to be able to move each of their customers to the right. And in the online ordering space, we're talking about the 20 plus customers. They are customers who have ordered from you 20 times. Now, our average order is between $70 and, God forbid, $100 when we order Indian, because we order a couple of meals. If we order from a restaurant 20 times, and it's probably more than 70, I've got to tell you, and I know sometimes we've been up around 120 if I've been particularly hungry hippo, we're probably a $2,000 customer. And from a marketing point of view, you really need to know that. I have had owners of restaurants who've come to me and just said, I just want to meet you, say hello, and thank you for all of this. I've had other people who've said, hey, we know that you like this. We know that you didn't order it this time. We've thrown one in there for you. Obviously, it works well with Indian food because, Indian food lasts for, I don't know how long, at least a week. I didn't ask for that. I didn't expect it. Boom. That's the point where you're really making that differentiation, where people just go, wow, that's amazing. This is the kind of thing that we're surfacing. If you don't like us on Facebook, or if you haven't connected up with me on LinkedIn, if you do connect up on LinkedIn, just say, I listen to the podcast and thank you, because I get a whole heap of randoms and I don't connect up with all of them. But follow us on Facebook or do something like that, because we're going to be showing what this loyalty graph looks like. Because I think this is one of the areas that I want to be focusing on, is moving our customers to the right on the loyalty graph. The restaurant loyalty graph is going to be a big thing, I think, and this is what your marketing should be aiming to do. Obviously, you've got to do two things. You've got to get new customers, then you've got to turn them into repeat customers. You don't want to have too many of the onesies. Now, obviously, if you're in a tourist area, that's going to be a big deal, because you're going to have lots of onesies, because perfect example is there's restaurants that I've been to that I love that I'll never go back to because I'm unlikely to go back to that city. Now, the number one trend that you should focus on for profitability. So pencils out. If you're driving, don't get your pencils out, but make a mental note of this. Passion. That is what I'm talking about. Passion is a really, really, really important part of the marketing mix. Oh, I just thought of that then. It should be the fifth P of the 4 Ps. Passion. Why am I saying this? It's because I have seen a lot of people who try to niche down in things that they're not passionate about. People who go with family friendly and they don't like children. People who go with vegetarian food and they don't really like, they love their meat and they're very blasé about vegetarian food. People who talk about celiac disease and gluten-free food when they actually have really poor practices in the kitchen, which means that there's cross-contamination happening all of the time, and it means that there are people who are going away and having a bad experience, and then they get a reputation for creating that bad experience. The things that I've talked about, you need, some of them, like costs, you need to be focusing on your costs. When we look about the niches that you're going to focus on, when we look at the innovation that you're going to do, when we look at the food trends, you need to be passionate about them. Because I think that if you pick an average trend, if you pick something that's off trend, but you go madly passionate about it, you'll be fine. Because if something is off trend, there's still going to be people who are going to like it. They're either the diehards or the retros. Do you remember when blah was really big? Whatever it was. Fondue. Chocolate fondue. Do you remember when chocolate fondue was really big? I reckon cheese fondue is going to make a comeback, but I don't know when that's going to be. So if you're really passionate about it and you go for it, then people are going to come back, not because they're diehard, because I don't think anyone, I haven't seen fondue for a long time, but there will be people who see your passion like, you know what, it would be nice to go and do that because it's been a long time since we've been to a good fondue thing. I wouldn't go all in. I wouldn't create a fondue restaurant. I don't know, maybe the next multi-million-dollar chain is going to be a fondue restaurant and I'll look like an idiot again. I doubt it. I wouldn't be betting the farm on it because I think it's high risk. The things that you're passionate about, and for me, I think it's as simple as being passionate about the cuisine that you are cooking. So let's take our standard Indian or Chinese restaurant. You're cooking great vindaloos or Sichuan style food. Why are you doing that? Because you're Sichuan province. Why are you proud about the food there? Tell me your story. Tell me about the kitchen that you grew up in. Tell me about how you source the product for it. These are the things that you're going to be passionate about. If you're creating an authentic Sichuan province type meal, then tell me about how what spices it is that you import. Tell me about the cooking techniques that you use that no one else around you uses. Get that message out about the passion. Because this is the thing. We talked about the last trend being the marketing. Time and time again, when we're doing our marketing consultations, you find this, and I love it. It's probably the best part of my job, is talking to someone, and then you find that thing that they're really passionate about. And it's like, why isn't that on your menu? Why isn't it on the website? Why isn't it on Facebook? Why isn't it on Instagram? And people just go, oh yeah, I guess it should be, but I didn't think anyone cared. And it's like, are you serious? Listen to the way that you talk. You're really passionate about this. And if you look at all of your competitors, if you look at all of the Chinese restaurants that you've got around you, who else is there that, gets a lot of people from China into the restaurant and you're super passionate about the way that you cook that food? Doesn't have to be cooking the Sichuan food in the way that it was cooked in Sichuan. You might be doing the old fusion trick. You might be creating the General Zhao's chicken of your cuisine. If you don't know the story of General Zhao's chicken, there's a great documentary on it. I think it's on Netflix, The Search for General Zhao's Chicken. And so you had a lot of people in the 19th century, a lot of Chinese people coming out to America. They couldn't speak the language. There was a lot of racism. They needed to survive. They came out to work the gold fields. They needed to survive, so they created Chinese restaurants. Of course, obviously the Chinese restaurant works perfectly when there's lots of Chinese people, but in a lot of areas there weren't a large number of Chinese people, and they didn't speak the language. And they were cooking traditional Chinese food because that was all they knew how to do, but it wasn't working for them. So they started to create a cuisine that was more Americanized. And General Zhao's chicken, it's a very sugary syrup around some chicken dumplings or fried chicken, and doesn't exist in China. People don't know what it is. And there's an amazing thing where they do a fortune cookie and people in China bite into the fortune cookie and then they go, what the hell, there's paper in here. Who the hell put paper in here? Well, it was Americans did because they want to do fortune cookies. It's, once again, an American thing. So whether you're passionate about the cuisine that you're cooking, whether you're passionate about the journey that you have taken your cuisine on, there's plenty of things out there that you can and should be passionate about. Now, my last thing, if you're not passionate about it, that's a bit of a problem because, I don't know, hopefully you can hear the passion that I've got for restaurant marketing and helping people to tell their story better. That's probably the main thing that I do. I help people to tell their story. It's tough when people come and they don't have a story because I don't want to make a story for them because that's going to be my story that they're going to try and live out. And that's madness. That's definitely madness for them trying to live out my story. That's crazy talk because I've got a crazy story. What's your story? What are you passionate about? And if you're not, then listen to my podcast on how to take a holiday because you probably need to take a holiday. Go back to Sichuan province and rekindle your love with your restaurant. It is like being married. Having a restaurant is like being married, except worse. You've got to have that passion and you've got to work on that passion. And if you lose it, you've got to do something to get it back or get out. Maybe it's time for a divorce. Life's too short. Maybe you could go and find another restaurant to fall in love with. I'm just saying. But you need to have that passion, because time and time and time again, the person with that passion, and you got to be doing all of the other stuff, right? You got to make sure your costs are under control. You don't want to have the best restaurant that no one's ever had. So you got to be making sure that you're doing the marketing right, little bit of innovation, all of those sort of things, amazing customer service. If you've got that passion, you're going to be streets ahead of the people who don't have that passion. I've been in a restaurant that's got no passion. You've been in a restaurant that's got no passion. Hopefully it's not your restaurant, because no one likes that restaurant. We don't go back to that restaurant because it's kind of lifeless, it's kind of soulless, and it is bland. So that's it. And you know what? I've got to say, this is the number one thing. Passion, passion, passion. I am going to make the 5 Ps of restaurant marketing. I think that's crazy awesome. You got to have that passion, because if you get the other 4 Ps, product, place, promotion, and price, if you get those ones right, it's still without the passion. It's just a business. People are going to pick up on it. Your marketing's not going to be authentic. If you love bugs and you eat bugs, then there's a video of you eating the bugs, and it's like, come on in, try it. Here we go. Here's a cricket milkshake. Don't do a cricket milkshake. I just thought of that. I went too far, stepped over the line. Don't do a cricket milkshake. But, whatever it is that you're doing, I don't know, maybe cricket milkshake, someone will do a cricket milkshake and it'll get like 14 million views on Facebook. Where's your passion? Not a milkshake, maybe in an orange juice, maybe as a smoothie. No, maybe with yogurt and orange juice. Try that out. Now, with that profound-ish or maybe unprofound idea, don't try and sue me if your restaurant goes out of business because you tried to have a cricket fruit drink. But, have a crack at doing these things. There's lots of things out there that you can try. But really, really, really focus on the passion. And if you're not in love with your restaurant, do something. Do something so that you are in love with it. If you're not in love with that restaurant because there's someone there on your team who's not right, fire them. If you're not there because of the profitability, have a good hard look at the profitability and work out why it isn't profitable. Have you got someone taken from your stock? Fire that person. Fix the menu up. Do all of those sort of things so you can get your passion back. Life's too short not to be passionate about what it is that you do. That's probably the best place that we can finish on. So yes, live with passion. And cook with passion, serve with passion. That's it, my friends. You have a glorious week. You have a glorious 2019. Hopefully this will be out before 2018. We're going to be celebrating New Year's in Shanghai. Super excited about that. Really looking forward to seeing some authentic Shanghaiese cuisine. And I dare say there'll be a podcast or two about that. That's it. Live with passion. Bye.
Want more customers for your restaurant, cafe or takeout? Every month, our marketing tools and information are used by thousands of restaurant owners just like you to help them find more customers and turn them into repeat customers. All of our tools and information is designed specifically for restaurant owners. We know you don't have a lot of time to spend marketing or learning complicated procedures, so our tools are quick and easy to use. If you're looking to increase your revenue and profits or want to work less hours, check out marketingforrestaurants.com.